Before we begin, click subscribe to stay up to date with all of our newest video content.
The knowledge tip for today is how to add forms to your HR Actions Dynamic Forms checklist. If you're already using the Dynamic Forms checklist, you know it's a fantastic way to streamline the forms administration for your staff, whether it's the onboarding of new hire paperwork, performance reviews, or just any other form that you might need your employees to sign off on an ongoing basis. So today I'm going to show you how to add and remove forms from those checklists. I'm logged on to the Employee Self-Service as an administrator, so I'm able to see as an employee what forms I have accessible to me today. But if I want to add some forms, I'll click on the Administrator menu, and down under My Menus, DFC Administration. At the top I can see all of the checklists that I currently have available, and if I wanted to add another checklist, I'd simply click on Add List, put a title for the list, and decide what sequence I want my employees to see it in. For this purpose, I'm just going to put it in as the last sequence so they'll see it at the bottom of the list. I can also add in, if this is just going to be a temporary checklist for them, I can choose to put in a start and stop date so that after the 30th it will no longer be accessible to them. And then once I'm happy with that, I can hit Insert, and I'll now see the checklist included at the top. To add forms to the checklist, whether it's the new one I've created or an existing checklist, I simply scroll down to the bottom and click Add Form. And then I can choose which checklist I want to work with. I can choose a form name. For this example, I'm just going to choose Employee Quiz. And then I can decide if there's going to be multiple forms within this new checklist, what sequence do I want that form to appear in. And then I have the option to choose when do I want this form specifically to be available. Is it going to always be visible? Is it going to be visible as of a certain date within HR? So such as their original hire date, maybe they're a rehire, is there an I-9 that needs to be renewed, so I only show it after that renewal date has hit. You get to decide when you want that to be available. It can also be a specific date that you make it available, and you can also choose to have it recur, whether it's going to be recurring, annually, semi-annually, or quarterly. So I'm going to leave mine as annual. I can choose to also have it be something that's maybe accessible so 90 days after their hire date. Maybe it's only accessible for 60 days. So within the training list itself that I've created, not only did I define when do I want the training list to be available, but I can also define when I want the forms to be available. So if there's different needs for different forms, I can work with that as well. The specific fields on the right-hand side is one of the coolest things about the Dynamic Forms checklist. This is going to give you the ability to set specific business rules as to who can see the form. So not only when is it accessible, but is there just a certain portion of your organization that you want to have access to this form. So an example I usually give is, for executive level employees, you might have them sign off on different acknowledgments within their hiring phase. You may have different acknowledgments for an entry-level person in your organization. So to accommodate for that, with a little bit of knowledge to my data dictionary, I know that these are my organization levels. Maybe I only want this particular form to be accessible to my HR department. So I'm going to choose my HR department code, and then I'm going to hit Insert. So now when I log back on as my employee that's in HR, and I come down into my action items, I now see the new checklist as well as the form that's accessible, and I'm able to interact with that form. And this concludes today's technology tip on how to add forms to your HR Actions Dynamic Forms checklist. Thank you.
Was this video helpful? Click subscribe to see more videos like this one.